Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Just Talking About Sports. I'm Ethan.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Luca.
And Matt, what are we doing today?
Talking about sports.
Thank you. This is our 25th episode, and we're going to be doing another tier list where this time we're going to be covering the NBA playoff predictions. Now that the 22-team playoff has been confirmed and that the NBA is going to be following that, we have decided that we're going to try and do a little bit of a prediction through our new tier list that we are basically learned how to use. It's better visually than just seeing our faces constantly talk for the entire time. So I think it's going to be definitely interesting, and I hope you guys enjoy. So let's get right into it. Boom, look at that. So obviously before we start, we got to explain all the different tiers. Obviously at the top, we have championship contenders. That means the teams that are basically have a legitimate chance to win it, and they're clear favorites to basically win the entire thing. Then we have the sleeper category, which are the teams that are basically just short of that championship, where they're going to be like second round-ish, where they're going to make it there, but they're just not – they're going to miss that final step to the championship or the finals. Then we have our first-round exits that are basically going to say, yay, we made the playoffs, and then they're going to be gone just as like long as you thought they were going to be. They're going to be a forgettable team that no one really remembers inside the playoffs. So we have them. We have the Nita Miracle. So these are the teams that are basically got included in this new plan for the 22 playoffs instead of the 16 teams, but they really literally need a miracle to even make it to the first round of the playoffs and then continue their run. And obviously we have gone to win the teams that happy they play a few more games or just 8 more games, because there's no way in heck that they're going to be continuing this. But that's our explanation, and let's start off with the San Antonio Spurs.
All right. Well, if you guys have not already heard, LaMarcus Aldridge is done. He needs surgery. I believe it was on his shoulder. He will not be playing when the NBA returns. That leaves DeMar DeRozan by himself to handle the offense and really everything, because that team has nobody. They're gone like the wind. They have no chance of making anything happen. They might even not win a game in this 8.
Well, unfortunately, as much as we all love the Spurs, and the NBA in the postseason is nothing without the Spurs and Greg Popovich, who loves maximizing talent on the floor through cohesive and connected basketball. But guess what? When you lose one of your best players like that, and you only have Murray and DeMar DeRozan like that, and DeMar DeRozan, he's not that great at shooting threes anymore. They're gone like the wind like that. They may win one game, but that's it.
I don't see him winning the game. I mean, this team is just going to be a tragedy to watch. They're very
If they play Phoenix, they might win a game.
Put them in the gone to win. No need to hurt on Greg Popovich and the Spurs anytime more. They'll figure it out in the next few years.
All right.
I would agree.
All right. How about we go to Boston and we talk about the Celtics?
All right. Well, I think the Celtics are a very, very well-built team with Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, whatever they decided to do at center. Gordon Hayward. They've built a really strong foundation, but I don't think it's championship contenders. I think, well, they could be, but I still think that they're not going to be up there in that top tier. They're not that good enough to me. I think there's a lot of teams that are better than them. I just don't see it yet for Boston. I have them in the sleepers tier.
Yeah, I have them in the sleepers tier too. They have so much named talents. Like everybody knows their names. It's just that team chemistry that they have on their team that scares me, and how they've played in the playoffs in the last few years. It also scares me. Yes, the addition of Kemba Walker does help, but I feel like with these teams and how Boston has been playing, especially towards the end of the season, or like the end of their basically to the playoffs, it kind of scared me and definitely raised some flags, but I don't think that they are championship contenders just yet. Maybe give them a year and find a good center that they could finally put after losing Al Warford last year, which is a solid center that they had. So I think that they're going to be stuck in the sleepers. They might surprise people, but at the moment, I don't see them really making any championship contending runs.
Well, call me crazy because I have them in championship contenders. This team has really impressed me throughout this year. Kemba Walker, a way better addition than Kyrie Irving, who was a problem within the locker room. You have the uprising in Jason Tatum, a great center in Taco Fall. Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Everyone knows the names of everyone knows basically the players on this team. They have what it takes to get to the championship. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get there, but they got a chance to get there within the Eastern Conference. I'm the same one that said the Bucks ain't getting there. Okay, I'm the same one. I'm gonna stick to my position. If the Bucks happen to get there, good for them. But I don't have faith in the Bucks. However,
I don't see the Celtics being better than the Bucks. I don't see it.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm allowed to have mine. So the Celtics, like I said, they've been pretty damn good this year at home and away. They've been defensively, they've been good. Yeah, they lost Al Horford, unfortunately, and he's on a team that we all feel sorry for nowadays, but I don't really feel sorry for them. But
nobody does it.
I gotta say they're pretty impressive. So if they get there, wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. They're great, but they're not good. I don't think they're that level. They are definitely a good team. Don't get me wrong. I have no issue with you putting them in the championship contenders, but if you're going to end up not putting the Bucks there, then I have a disagreement with that.
Yes.
We'll get to the Bucks in a minute, but
All right.
I would say for now put Boston in sleepers,
All right.
on the front end of sleepers, because you could interchange them, but I would say they're not up in the top yet.
All right. Moving on down south to Dallas, where Luca Doncic has basically carried their entire team to the playoffs, along with a little help from Kristaps Porzingis. But the two of them, that duo that they've had, has been pretty hot. I mean, they are sixth in I believe, the Western Conference, right? Yes, no, maybe so.
I think they're seventh in the Western Conference, correct?
Sixth.
So,
Sixth.
They're sixth? Who's in seventh?
Sixth in the Western Conference, so they're, for me, a first-round exit team. This is the lack of experience. Neither Kristaps Porzingis or Luka have been to the playoffs at all. This is going to be their first time making it. I think it'll take a few years to learn. I mean, especially if Kristaps is supposed to be the next Dirk in Dallas, I think they'll have to learn how to lose before they do their magic runs and beating those basically dynasties. But I think that Dallas will have the chance to make the playoffs, but going up against a team that, like, if they're stuck at the sixth seed position, they would have to either go up against the Denver Nuggets, or if they try and move up, I mean, maybe they'd have a chance to make it the second round if they move up a seed in the playoff, playing this 8-game run. But if they stay where they are, they have no chance. They're going to be a first-round exit.
Yep, can't disagree with that. Unfortunately, I've actually watched Dallas Mavericks much this year because watching the Bulls is like having too much aspirin at night. But honestly, it's just really hard to see them advance past whatever team they have to play. I mean, if they have to play Denver, there's just no way they can beat them in that 7-game series. As much as I want to have confidence in this team, they don't have enough pieces and what it takes. Like you said, they got Luka Doncic, they got Kristaps Porzingis, they got a good guard in Seth Curry, and then they got Tim Hardaway Jr. That's about all they got that's really notable on the floor. They got an experienced coach as of right now in making the playoffs, but they're a first-round exit. They got more developing to do, and we'll see them next year.
Totally agree with everything you guys have said. I think that Kristaps and Luka both are going to not adjust quite properly to this playoff environment just yet, especially after the 90-something day break that it's going to be. It's going to be more than 90 days at that point. But I think that it's going to take them a couple of years to really be something. Kristaps needs more development on defense. Luka just needs to develop into a playoff player, which he won't do yet, especially against a team that they're likely going to play one of the LA teams in the first round. They're going to have some problems. So I would say Mavericks first-round exit, they're going to be fun to watch, but there'll be nothing more than that.
Yep, totally agree. All right, well, guess what? We're still in Texas. Just now we're in Houston, where James Harden, Russell Westbrook is in.
Russell Westbrook. It's Russell Westbrook, kids, not Russell Westbrook.
Oh, this is what happens when you combine Westbrook and Wilson.
Yeah.
All right. So, Matt, tell us, where do you think they're going to be?
I'm definitely seeing a first-round exit. I'm sorry. I don't think that the Rockets are – they honestly played better with Chris Paul than they have with Russ. Whether I think Russ is better than Chris Paul is another story. But the way that it has worked out for them here, not exactly what I was seeing. You look at a guy like Clint Capella, who was a big help, and now they got rid of him for whatever reason. I don't know, especially when your center is almost as tall as Ethan. you have just concerns about what kind of team you can run when your center can't pick up the boards and can't do the proper things that a center can do. It's still one of the most important positions in the game to this day, whether people realize it or not. And the Rockets not having that, to me, kills any chance they have of going past first round.
Yeah, I mean, just for a disclaimer, we did say Dallas was the 6th seed in the West. They're actually the 7th, and the Rockets are
Houston's 6.
Okay. So that was my fault. I didn't read standings correctly, but obviously the Rockets, if basically the same goes for said if the Mavs were in the 6th spot or the 7th spot. If they're stuck in these 8, 7, 6 seeds, they're going to be going up against the Nuggets, the Clippers, or the Lakers. Those are 3 teams that are 10 times better than them. If they're stuck where they are the definition of a first-round exit. And the way that Dan Toney has been running this offense, you have so much basically offensive talent, but they have to have the ball in their – it's a recipe for disaster, and everyone was right about this whole thing that it was not going to work out. Yes, they still made the playoffs because they have 2 MVPs on the team. You're still going to make the playoffs if you have 2 MVPs, but I see this team is just not – the chemistry was just not there, that you don't have a good center, like Matt said, has told me, and I'm only 6'5". So, but besides that, though, I think they're a first-round exit, but they're one of the worst first-round exits.
2 words. See ya. Once again, the Houston Rockets. Year after year when they went to go play Golden State. This team, obviously they were different back then, but still, James Harden is not the same James Harden in the postseason. He constantly hogs the ball. He runs out of bounds random times. He can't shoot threes for weird reason. The problem is, it's just James Harden when it comes to the postseason. Where's everyone else? I don't know exactly. You got Russell Westbrook on there now. He's a great point guard in my opinion. Always has been. But like Matt said, the tallest guy on that team is not even 6'11", if not shorter. That's a problem when you have a center trying to get rebounds. They're definitely going to struggle with that. And if you're going up against a team like the Nuggets, you have to go up against the Joker. The Joker may be slimmer now, but he's tall enough to get rebounds, unlike some of these other people like Robert Covington or someone like PJ Tucker. Like those are the other names on this team that they don't have the height to get rebounds. Yeah, they can shoot and all, but like I said, they don't have the talent to get what it takes to get past the first round this year.
Agreed. I think they have a better chance than Dallas, though.
Yes, they do have a better chance than Dallas.
I just don't see it.
Put them ahead of Dallas.
There we go.
All right, boom. Obviously, now we're moving to the West Coast where the next 2 teams are going to be one of the more beefy teams because, personally, I think both of them have very good centers. But we'll start off with the Lakers, obviously. LeBron James, with all the other talents that he has on this other team, with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they have so much talent. If there's going to be one more year that LeBron James wins it, it's going to be this year because the way that everything is played out, not everyone seems to be ready. But despite that, I mean, the Lakers have played very, very well all season long, and ESPN has made sure that everybody knows that as they constantly cover whatever LeBron James does, even off the court, that no one really cares about. But I still see them as one of the very top contenders for this championship team. So I think, I should just put them up in the championship contender and end the discussion because what else is there to say? It seems very, very good.
Yeah. Before even game 1 of the season even start, we knew the hype about the LA Lakers, okay? You got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, a dynamic duo right there. We know what the Lakers, who they are. After last season, we all noted that LeBron needed another piece in order to make this team successful. And right there was Anthony Davis. We know what this team can do. My question, yes, I'm putting them in the championship contender, but my question is what the bench can do. When LeBron is not on that floor, who can help him? Who? You got Danny Green, you got Kyle Kuzma, you got Deion Waiters, and you got Markieff Morris. Okay? Yeah, they're good pieces and all, but it ain't no LeBron. This team needs another of those pieces. I mean, obviously we haven't talked about this team yet, but I'll give you a hint. It's the other LA team. But they don't have a bench like Lou Williams and all that. So Frank Vogel has done a great job in LA. Don't get me wrong. They are a championship contender, but I'm a little worried about their bench there.
I think my biggest concern for the Lakers is the fact that apart from LeBron and Anthony Davis, you have very few recognizable true
Alex
talent.
Caruso.
Alex, yeah, I said true talents. Dwight Howard, way past his prime. JaVale McGee never was in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
Quinn Cook, nobody cares. There's a lot of people that nobody cares about, actually. KCP is just straight up garbage. Sorry to anybody who likes Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Kyle Kuzma, overrated. The Lakers just have issues there. They are definitely championship contenders because they have two of the best players in the NBA, but they are not, I think, the favorites in the West.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a battle between you-know-who and you-know-who, but we'll get to that. All right.
Battle
Let
of
me
LA.
get to the team that I like to criticize constantly, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes, you do. I think you just hate everybody in Wisconsin. I've come to the conclusion. Green Bay, whatever.
It has nothing to do with somebody. It has nothing to do with Wisconsin.
It has 100% to do with that. I think
it does not.
Hashtag Wisconsin hater.
All right, Milwaukee. They're the sleepers. All right, once again, this team, the Greek Freak, you got Chris Middleton, yada, yada. You got more people on this team. You can put Eric Bledsoe in there. You can put Brook Lopez in there. We get all that. The problem with this team over and over and over again, it's just Giannis. You need more pieces around Giannis. We get that they have Eric Bledsoe. We get that they have Chris Middleton, but they haven't reached the point where there are great pieces around him. We know the Greek Freak can do all the magic he can in the paint, but he has not established that middle range jumper. I don't know what he is yet. You saw what happened to him last year against Toronto. It was a disaster. They went up 2-0, and then before you know it, they lost 4 in a row. What happened there? I'm not saying they're the same team last year, but they cannot do that exact same thing last year. We knew what they did this season. Yeah, they had a 18-game winning streak. We knew that happened. But like I said, I still have my doubts around this team. I understand people can call me a hater with the Milwaukee team. I'm never going to take my stance back. They win the championship. Good for them. I'll give them their props, but they're still sleepers in my opinion.
3 letters for what Giannis is. You asked who Giannis is. I can give you 3 letters. MV. Done. That's it. I don't need to give you anything else. You have the best player in the NBA to me by far, and it's not close. You have a good supporting cast in Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez. Listen to this. Giannis may not be the most established shooter. Okay. But you have guys like Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, who get the job done for you beyond the arc. All 3 of them are efficient shooters, and all 3 of them are – Brook Lopez is really not an efficient defender. But Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez are both very efficient defenders. They have a great job of clamming people up on the perimeter. Not only that, but then you have a guy like Brook Lopez, and Giannis is an incredible interior defender. You have those 2 who will give trouble in the paint. Brook Lopez is a great shot blocker. They have a bench, which is important to note. Dante DiVincenzo, George Hill. They got 2 guards, both who can play well on the perimeter off the bench. They are an established team. They are one of the more complete teams. If they had a bigger piece than just Chris Middleton, then you could say that the Bucks may be a future super team down the road, in my opinion. I don't know what there is to hate on Milwaukee. I think they are the best team in the NBA, and they are definitely a championship contender, 1,000%.
Well, Matthew is obviously 100% right. I mean, has anybody looked at the standings? 53 wins, the best in the NBA.
They're also in the Eastern Conference. You're erasing that part too.
Are we going to put no Eastern Conference teams in the championship contenders here then? We have to put somebody in the East there, and there is nobody else who is more qualified than Milwaukee.
All right, okay.
They literally have it. I mean, Milwaukee has only 12 losses. How do you think they got it? Because they're successful, because they have Giannis, because they have a supporting cast, because they have a better bench. You were complaining about the Lakers not having a bench. Why do you have the Lakers above the Bucks if the Bucks actually have a bench?
You got 2 of the best players in the NBA on that team. That's why.
Yeah, and you have the best player in the NBA on the other side of it. By far.
A better supporting cast than what the misfits in the Lakers that they basically have. Just a bunch of old people that they decided to pick up, plus a good old Alex Caruso that nobody could ever hate on. But I think this Milwaukee team has a better chance to beat the Lakers or anybody than any other team in the NBA, because they have everything, every piece that they need. If there's going to be a year that they have the best chance to do it, it would be this year. Last year, they didn't really have such a good supporting cast. They went out and got in the draft. They went out in free agency. They went and got all the assets that they need. They're going to win a championship. They're the championship now. this is their want to win now mentality. That's what they're looking for. I think this team is a no-brainer in the championship contender. If you put the number one team in the NBA in the sleepers, I don't know what you're doing, because that's kind of like saying last year's last year's Baltimore Ravens, putting them in the sleeper category, which, I mean, it obviously did end up happening in the playoffs. But before then, if you said that, people would get very angry at you. So I think putting the literal best team in the NBA at the very give them the shot at the championship contender, because it's well deserved. I think they deserve to be there.
I have a question for you. Are you saying they're going to win the whole thing?
I think they have the best chance at least to make it to the championship for the East.
And we know that.
I think they can put up a fight.
Okay. The reason I have them in the sleepers is because of the Game 7. I have another team that could possibly beat them.
So who
I'm not saying that right now. I'm not saying that
You have another team in the East that, okay, I think.
You said the Raptors suck.
I didn't say the Raptors.
No, I don't think it's the Raptors that he's thinking about. I don't think it's the Raptors that he's thinking about.
All right, but I'll make y'all happy and put them in the contenders, okay? I'm telling you right now, if they do not make the championship, you all owe me an apology.
Fair enough. Give it to you.
Got it. Am I putting them in front or behind?
In front. They're the clear top.
Okay.
I think they are.
The very top.
Oh, man, New Orleans. I'll start with this one here. New Orleans, this team, everybody knew when Zion got drafted, this was going to be one of the teams that everybody wanted to watch. It's going to be entertaining. You got Zion, and hell, you even got Lonzo Ball. Just put them all on every national television game you want. 82-game season, free pass. You want to go to New Orleans, just go get them and watch the Pelicans. As good as a fan base as they have, as fun as it is to watch Zion and Lonzo play, they are not going to be anything in this playoff. In this setting, I don't see it. I don't think they're completely out of it. I don't think they have a 0% chance. I think they're in the need a miracle tier because they need a lot of help from Portland and Memphis if they want to sneak in. But they have just a chance, just a little bit of a chance. We'll see how Zion does coming back from this break. We'll see how a guy like Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday, how they recover. I think that they're probably, though, in that fourth tier and definitely not higher than that.
Well, guess what? We agree. This team is going to need a miracle. I mean, let's be honest here. This team has definitely turned the corner. I will give them the credit where the credit's due. Okay, this team started 7-24 this season. Okay, there was no way anyone was talking about them making the playoffs this year. But what happened before the season was suspended? Obviously, there was discussion they could make the playoffs, and even before Zion got there, they were turning around the corner. Just Zion made it better for them because he is that good of a player. And I want to read this to you. Since Zion has made his season debut on January 22nd, we all know New Orleans is first since he's got there. Points per game, 120. First in assists per game, 30. Second offensive rebounds per game, 12. And second in total rebounds per game, 50. Okay? That is a team that has turned around the corner. Now, this year, it will not happen for them getting there simply because what happened with the season getting suspended. You got great pieces, like you said, in Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday, and you got another good piece in J.J. Redick, what he's supposed to do, shoot the ball and get points. But they're going to need a miracle this year. They just don't have it yet.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, sadly for J.J. Redick, his streak looks to be – I mean, technically, if you count this as the playoffs, of him making the playoffs, his streak continues, as he's always made the playoffs, I believe, every single year. But the fact that the real playoffs is that I don't think that they will really make it. I think that New Orleans got hot at the wrong time because if they were able to have Zion start the season and play those first few games, they'd have those wins that they would need to have that 8th seed over Memphis. But the fact that he would miss that first half of the year basically and had him come in, and they were finally starting to win games at the end of the season. That's why they're in this position. I think that the need a miracle tier is perfect for them. I think that they're going to literally need everything they could possibly get to make the playoffs. I mean, they need to call Cinderella. They need to call Jesus. They need to call the Miracle Man. I don't know who they need to call, but if ESPN really wants to talk about Zion anymore, they got to look for the heavens to try and make the playoffs.
All right. How about OKC? Where do you have them?
This is one of the most surprising teams. Can we at least agree to that? I don't think you could have told me that they were going to make the playoffs seriously before the season.
As soon
This
as
was a shock.
Yeah, before you keep going, I'm going to say something. As soon as I saw Russell Westbrook leave the Thunder, I'm like, this team has no chance of being good. But guess what? We were wrong, and they surprised us. Go on.
Yes, they did. And, I think the one person that surprises me more than anybody else, Chris Paul. I did not think he would be anything. I figured he has been washed up, didn't have any chance of doing anything successful. I figured failure. That's wrong. Chris Paul has proven that he is still a legit player in the NBA and needs to be taken seriously as one of the top 15, at least top 15 point guards still in the NBA. He's proven himself at least that. He's gotten pieces around him in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari. I think the big thing with the Thunder, and we were just talking about it, I don't know what kind of bench they're going to have. But that's my concern. You've built a really good starting lineup, and I didn't even mention Steven Adams. You've built a really solid starting lineup. I'm just concerned about what can happen when the bench comes in. I don't think they're going to make it past the first round. I do think they're going to be a first-round exit, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them go past at least one round and try and make some trouble go on in round 2.
Yeah, I think that this ACC team would definitely be a surprising team. I still think they're stuck in the first rounders, as they no matter who they verse. They'll win a few games. They'll definitely not get swept. They'll definitely take a few games, but I don't see them winning a series this year with all the just mishap and all the stuff. I think that this is just not their year. Give them one more year. Get Chris Paul some better options, some better offensive power, and they'll definitely be a better team next year. That will be definitely a team to talk about as we get into that. But for now, I say keep them in the first round.
First things first, I'd like to apologize to all the Oklahoma City Thunder fans out there for my before season prediction. I was wrong. Okay? This team surprised me. I did not realize how much CP3 had left in him, okay? This guy is a respectable player. I had no clue what this team would be. Daniel, Matt, you guys basically summed all this up for me. They will be a first-round exit, unfortunately, because they do not have the pieces necessary to advance the second round. That's all it is. But however, they will probably win 1 or 2 games in the first round, and then it'll just be it for the year, and then they'll come back next year with probably a better bench or maybe another starter, but that's it.
Agreed. I think they're better than both the other teams that we have in the first-round exits, though. They definitely have better pieces than both the others.
Yeah. We'll follow the trend. Keep them in seed order for now. Well, moving on to Sacramento Kings. They are lucky to be in the playoffs. No matter what people say, they were definitely towards the bottom of that Western Conference. They were the teams just hanging on. They were below 500. They had 28 wins. Did they really have a chance? Kind of. But were they going to make the playoffs with the assets that they had? No, they were not going to make the playoffs. I have them in a solid. Basically, they're either in need of miracle because they're only 4 wins back from Memphis, just because how that Western Conference is to even make the playoffs. But I think they're going to be at the very back end of that need a miracle because New Orleans is obviously better, and there's a few other teams that are better that have a better chance to make it. I have them there, and I think that as much talent as DeAndre Fox brings to the table, I think just they got to take at least a few more years to build more talent until they're back.
I disagree with you. They're gone with the wind. The reason for that is because of their inconsistent play throughout the whole entire season. That is what they've been defined the whole entire season. I'm not saying that they're bad. They're just very young. They need time to develop like the Phoenix Suns. We'll get to them. I'm telling you right now, the long losing streaks they've had this whole entire season have hampered them time in and time out. It has been ridiculous. It's hard to watch sometimes. They get, like you said, they have a great player in Fox, and don't forget about Buddy Hield. I kind of like him a lot too. And the rest of the young Kings on the roster, a lot of no-namers. I don't even know. They need to find the rhythm quickly if they want to make this playoff push. However, with the youth they have, the inconsistency they've had, they don't have time to mess around losing games. They're going to literally have to win the majority of them, and they don't have what it takes to get there.
I don't think so either. I think the Kings are definitely toasted. I just don't see a way or a route for them to get into the postseason at all. I think De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield are both very talented players. I just don't see them turning into anything at all this season. Give them maybe another year or two. This team is still in sort of a rebuild situation. They're not a great team. They're gone like the wind. They're better than the Spurs.
Yeah, they're definitely better than the
Spurs.
Spurs are going to be the worst in that. Gone like the wind.
All right. So, how about we go to the Portland Trailblazers? What are your thoughts?
I think they need a miracle. I do. I know a lot of people think that with their playoff experience and everything, they have a better chance than Memphis. People forget that Memphis has a pretty big advantage on them already, and with only 8 games left, you have to get in the rhythm and get in it quickly. I just don't see it happening yet for Portland. It's going to be a disappointing year. They have a really strong team on paper. It just has not performed well, and I see Portland not making it to this playoff.
Unfortunately, that is sadly true. They need a miracle, unfortunately. I feel last year they lost in the Western Conference Finals. We know what Portland is capable of. We know their playoff experience. Unfortunately, this year was not it. They didn't have Zach Collins for the majority of the season, and they didn't even have Jurkic to begin with the season either.
Jurkic.
Yeah, they didn't have him. It's just unfortunate what they'd go through. Yeah, you got a great star shooting and Damian Lillard, but he's not going to be able to carry this whole entire team to the playoffs and then have to play the first round. It just will not happen. Therefore, they need a miracle.
Portland is going to be, I say, put Portland at the front of that need a miracle. They have, obviously, they're 3 games back. If Memphis ends up choking and they somehow sneak their way into the playoffs to end up versing Milwaukee or the Lakers, which will be, yay, you made the playoffs. Now you got to verse the Lakers. It's like, oh, that's not the greatest. But I think that that's not where this would be. There's just be a front in front of them.
Sorry. I thought you said back.
They have the best chance. They are the closest. They're the 9th seed in the Western Conference. They're the closest to making the 8th seed. That's why I think they have the best chance.
Okay. Well, let's go to Indiana and the interesting Pacers.
That's a good way to put it. I think that the Pacers have been another surprise. They don't look like they have a lot of talent on paper. But Sabonis, Miles Turner, Victor Oladipo, Malcolm Brogdon, they've all been playing well together, at least better than most expected. TJ Warren. The problem is no Jeremy Lamb, but they did fine without him, even after his torn ACL. The Pacers are actually, in my opinion, going to go past the first round. I think that they will surprise some people. I have them in the sleepers tier, but I have them at the bottom of that sleepers tier. They're going to be an interesting one, I think. They're a team that is definitely built for success. Let's just see if they prove it.
I mean, for me, first off, I just want to say this is our halfway point. We've already gone very, very long, so we're going to probably call this like the last team we're going to cover. So at least in our first part of this tier list for our NBA playoff predictions. But for me, the Pacers, I think that they have a few surprising talents. I think that they're going to, despite having all this talent, I think they could definitely be close to that sleeper tier, but I'm going to keep them in the first round tier just because of where they're at in the conference standings. They're going to be having to verse some of the harder teams. I mean, they're in the East, so lucky that they're in the East. But I think that they have basically the definitely talent to surprise some people, to make some few interesting runs, to win a few games that people wouldn't expect them to. But basically, despite that, I still say keep them in the first round and probably be stuck there.
This is a tough one, considering what they have done this year. I did not expect the Indiana Pacers to go out there and execute the way they've done. And especially since they missed their best player of the year. And how do you say his last name? Remind me how to say Victor
Oladipo.
Thank you. Yeah, he has not exactly played all year, and we all know that. And without him playing all year, guess what? I got to put this team in the sleepers. They really have surprised me. They're up there with the Heat and what they could do. They have a great coach, and especially what this team has done with the majority of the year, the chemistry they've been able to do on and off the field has really proven this team can get past the first round and do some damage to someone like the Celtics in upcoming rounds. So they're sleeping because I don't know what's going to happen, but this is going to be a surprising team. don't be shocked if they destroy someone's aspirations.
Put them in the
said.
sleep.
Put them behind the Celtics, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Oops. Why does this thing do
Aye,
that?
aye.
There we go.
Alrighty, since we've kind of reached our halfway point, we like talking very, very long about each team and giving our discussions. We'll finally call it quits for our first half of our NBA tier list for the playoffs of 2020 with our 22-team playoffs. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Later.
Later all.